Okay, so the Chicago Bears drafted Colston Loveland, and I made my night of film review I film study as I do for a lot of the draft picks in the first round. But I wanted to go back into the film and talk about things from a different perspective. A couple of these plays will actually be the same plays from that film study, but with a different reason behind it, and that is because I want to talk about really what Colston Loveland can bring to the Ben Johnson offense in general. Not just what he can bring to any offense, but very specifically this offense, and why, after watching this tape, I really kind of understand why Ben Johnson valued Loveland so highly. This play is exactly what I want to see if I'm Ben Johnson. So you see the concept on the screen. It's a cover 3 zone that the defense is going to be running right here. And for Loveland, he's going to kind of, there's going to be a play action, and he's going to kind of fake as though he's going over the middle. Why is that important? Well, just think about it logically. Why do you run play action in a situation like this? You're trying to get the linebackers to move in, right? They move in, it makes it easier to throw over the top of them, which usually what you want to do is go over the middle so that you can be over the top of them. So watch how when this play begins, the linebackers do move in. The safety now is reading this play and saying, okay, play action, linebackers are out of position. This now means that they're going to do one of those over the middle type throws, but this is a play off of this, which is actually, as we know, Loveland's going to cut more over the middle. As you see, that's exactly what he does. Look at how open he gets. Ball doesn't get there, but he did a really good job at getting open. And this is exactly what the Lions do, right? The Lions love to run concepts and then run concepts off of concepts and run concepts off of concepts off of concepts. But to do this, you have to have the players who can successfully run these complex routes, and Loveland is maybe the best route runner in this class when it comes to tight ends. Like, this play is another example of exactly that, where it's going to be a zone coverage concept, and you see, the route on the screen. This isn't a fancy concept, but it goes to show his route running. When this play begins, you're going to see that he's not selling what he's going to do just yet. Keep in mind, this is a tough route for him to win on. The quarterback is on to hash marks towards the bottom of the screen, going to have to throw all the way to the sideline. This is not an easy play. However, when he cuts so smoothly, he does get open and even does some nice work after making the catch as well. So you just have to think, okay, this is what I see. This is what you're going to see Ben Johnson try to utilize him as. And a great way to kind of compare and contrast, I think, is to go back and watch some Sam Laporta tape, because that was kind of really one of the key guys in the Lions offense. Not the key guy, but a key guy. Like, watch over here. What's going to happen is this is going to be a zone coverage play, and this is interesting. Kind of going back and watching more Lions tape, I sort of forgot how often they would do something like this, where it's zone coverage, and Laporta is the outside receiver right here, which is interesting. Usually your tight ends play more on the inside. Laporta is playing on the outside, and also keep in mind the situation. 3rd down and 6, so the Cardinals don't want to give up anything here. When this play begins, a couple of, one receiver is running a deeper route that's going to take some attention. But you see right now, this is when Laporta is cutting. Laporta, also a very good route runner, and because he was kind of selling as though he could run deep and is now just cutting, I mean, look at how wide open he is right at the 1st down marker on a 3rd down and 6. Like, that's not supposed to happen. And to be able to do this, you need 2 good route runners. The one running a deep route to keep the defense honest, and the tight end, which in this case is Laporta, and you figure this next season will be Loveland. Watch, Goff makes this throw, and Laporta is able to make that grab, but honestly, that's something that's an easier play to be made, and Ben Johnson is great at this stuff. Now, that's not all Ben Johnson likes to have his tight ends do. They will do the traditional thing. A play like this, where it's going to be, for the Detroit Lions, you have one of those over-the-middle routes against zone coverage. They're going to run kind of a half-hearted play action on this play. But ultimately, again, Ben Johnson loves to run the ball, and then he loves to run play action off of running the ball, right? When this play begins, you're going to see, though, it's Sam Laporta's route running to make sure he gets open enough. He's not wide open. Again, this is, the NFL instead of college, harder to get wide open, but there still is a window. Goff's going to have to make sure he makes the throw. However, he is able to do that because there was a window, and also Laporta was able to make a relatively tough grab. For the Chicago Bears, this is why they valued the tight end. Because, Again, one other criticism that even I mentioned when I saw this pick was, well, you already have Cole Kmet. Can't he do a lot of the same things? Well, they view this position as more than just a tight end who's going to get into a gap in coverage, right? They want a great route runner. And the difference between having a top 10 tight end for them versus a top, 25 tight end is a pretty big jump for Ben Johnson's offense compared to the average offense. So that's why they're still willing to take this chance and make the selection. And also, he should be able to just do stuff like this, so this play is going to be a one-on-one matchup right here. It's going to be man coverage. You have, two players recovering more over the middle of the field, and then the other 5 guys are in coverage. You see Laporta's route going to eventually cut more towards the sideline. However, when this play begins, you see he first gets inside leverage, but he's actually not going that way, as we know. But you see not selling where he's going straight over the middle of the field. This is very similar to what we're talking about with Colston Loveland. So then when Laporta does cut more towards the sideline, Goff was in motion as well, able to hit Laporta. And again, you just can't help but think of Colston Loveland being able to fit into some of these plays. Again, will he be as great as Sam Laporta is day one? That's not fair to expect of him. Laporta's been really good, but you definitely can see the fit now when you watch the tape, right? This is where these discussions when it comes to football get so weird, right? Because how do we evaluate scheme and fit and need into best player available? Because a traditional way to look at things is to say, if you're not drafting the projected best player available, you're getting a worse player, and you're essentially trading for less value, right? Which is not what you want to do. Of course, if there's a player that you think adds more value to your team than a player that might be better for a different team, it probably makes sense to get the guy who fits your scheme, right? Because ultimately the goal is not just to get the player who'd be most valuable for all 32 teams, get the player who'd be the most valuable for your specific team. So that's why scheme does kind of have to come into play. And let's not forget, with everyone kind of freaking out about this selection, he was selected 10th. He was projected to go 15th. So it's not like crazy. It's not like the Jahmyr Gibbs pick was, okay, that was a shock. It worked out, but that was a shock, right? Because of how far he jumped. The Colston Loveland one, it's only a bit of a shock because people liked Warren more, which I don't think there's a massive jump between the two. I will say people are very overrating Loveland's blocking. I don't know where that's come from exactly. Colston Loveland is mostly a receiving tight end who can block if needed, but he's a receiving tight end. That's why they're drafting him, because he's a scheme fit. At least that's how I see things. But yeah, those are mostly my thoughts on Colston Loveland. I think he's going to be a fun player, and 100% he's going to have a lot of stats, and people are going to say, wow, remember when everyone made fun of that pick? That's going to happen. Mark that down. Be ready for that, because it's going to happen. But yeah, I'm not mad at this pick. I think it makes sense. I get what the Bears are doing here. It's what the Lions have done, back when Ben Johnson was there. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.